Good morning, everybody.
So, open this meeting. So first up, have our one and only famous Rick Stemen.
The famous.
We'll see if the presentation pops up. If not, I'll just have to. There we go. All right. Well, we talk a lot about workforce development because we're doing lots of cool things. Add workforce development. Thank you, John. But you know, economic development has definitely picked up these last couple of years. Traditionally, our role in economic development had been to support the cities because that's where all the land was that was being developed. But we dove in at first, work with villages and townships into building our plan. So with me today is Vince Carpico. He's our economic development specialist, and Anthony Akini. He's our economic development coordinator. So they'll be jumping in and sharing some of the stuff that they're working on. Anthony, I call him the dirt and bricks guy. His role is to make sure we have sites, building, tax incentives, those types of things. And Vince works on our Port Authority, the 33 Lions, and our revolving loan committee. So as we've been growing, I appreciate the commissioners allowing our staff to grow and get the stuff done. And that's a beautiful title slide. I want everybody to be able to see it for a long time. Just go next slide, I guess. So one of the main things we did, which we talked about, has been the comprehensive plan. So you want to go next slide? Basically on the comprehensive plan, we focused on 5 things: managing growth, making sure that we are growing where there are utilities and not just having random subdivisions or commercial facilities throughout the county. Quick shot. Growing the local economy and creating jobs, expanding. Don't we have one of those things where you can look at the office? What's that? Office.
We're limping along a little bit today.
Fair enough. Expanding housing opportunities, as we've talked before, that ties right back into preserving farmland. You can put 100 homes on 50 acres or 100 homes on 500 acres, which is what's really happening out there in the township. So we want to conserve farmland. Density is important to that. And then partnerships ensure success. And we've been doing a lot of that. Thank you, Commissioner Fix, with kind of carrying that, carrying that torch as we move forward, working with townships and villages and cities. So this is our final land use map. Now, some townships have chosen to do their own and pass those as their official land use plans. But from the county standpoint, as you can see, the purple is where the villages are, and that's where the utilities are. So the focus is start in the cities, start in the villages, and grow out from there. Obviously, a lot of housing will happen in the northwest part of the county and the northeast part of the county in Millersport. While our county, 165,000 people now, there's still a lot of diversity in what people need. So, for example, in Millersport, they need a lot of single-family homes because they need kids to go to their school. They're at record low enrollment numbers, so they building condos and other things for like summer homes in Millersport. They want homes with kids in them. So, one of the things we talk about partnerships. Anthony, if you want to come on up, is working with the townships and villages and trying to make sure that we're all, working from the same plate, I would say. So, Anthony, I'll hand it off to you.
Thank you, Rick. Good morning, everybody. I'm Anthony Akini. I am the Economic Development Coordinator for the county. And one of the partnerships we have been working on has been meetings with townships and villages and trying to put sort of a roadmap together for development. One of the things that really deters development is uncertainty. So if the developer isn't certain of what the ground rules are, anything like that, they're probably not going to want to develop in your area. So Commissioner Fix has really led the charge on this as well. We have been meeting with townships, villages, trying to really determine where it makes sense to develop, who is kind of in charge of that, who provides the utilities, where annexation can happen, different things like that. So we've been meeting with Fairfield Township, the city of Lancaster, and Village of Thurston, Walnut Township are pretty far along in coming up with some agreements with them, really laying the ground rules of how development will happen over the future, where it will happen, excuse me, and who will be really in charge of what. We want to have those tough conversations now and get out in front of everything. We want to be proactive. We don't want to be doing these when we have a developer around a developer and they can pit people against each other. So we want to make sure we have everything laid out here beforehand. Working on different tax overlays, things like that, figuring out how everybody can financially benefit from these developments as well. So that is something that we continue to work with. We hope to, really it's a new concept that not many in the state are doing. So hope we can do this all around the county as time moves forward. I also wanted to talk about one of the large developments we are working on here in the county. That is the Basel Western Corridor. This has been a joint effort with the county, by the township, City of Canal Winchester, the Port Authority. We work very closely with our utilities department, our engineers department, county TID. So just a general map of the area. These are some of the sites that we see as developable right now or in the future. The sites in the white, those are sites within the county, within the township. That's sites we take ownership of, we take the lead on. And the sites in the red, potential development sites, those are sites within the City of Canal Winchester. So we work closely with their development department on those different sites. So in the bottom right-hand corner there, that is the DHL site. So if you drive along 33, that is the large warehouse, DHL warehouse, right along Basel Western Road. They are nearing completion. They should be getting their certificate of occupancy here very soon. And some other sites that we are working on, we are close to having a completed agreement with the Paul Hammer Company, the Roadling development site there. That will be some warehousing, and then across Basel Western as well. The Levesque Commercial and Construction Development, that is some warehousing as well. With these developments, road improvements are needed. So Basel Western Road will be getting an added center turn lane with a cut through as the intersection down here on the Basel Western and Hill Road side is very sharp. It's a very sharp intersection. We're putting a cut through and a roundabout in to alleviate that turn. The developers will be putting money in to pay for these road improvements. That's part of the agreements that we have put together. That's sort of the whole corridor. I'll talk briefly about each of the different developments here, so you can go to the next slide. So as I said, DHL, it's a 755,000 square foot warehouse distribution building. Over 200 jobs. It was a $58 million investment, which I believe is the largest investment of that kind in the county for a building. They will be contributing approximately $1.5 million for the road improvements. And schools, you want to make sure the schools are involved in these deals as well. So annually, Pickerington, local schools, and Eastland Fairfield will get a combined $150,000. Most of that going to Pickerington local. Also, because of this deal, we got a $1.2 million infrastructure grant for the road improvements from the Ohio Department of Development because of the amount of jobs they are bringing. So that's always nice when the state backs you up on a project of this size. The next slide. Here are the recent photos of the warehouse. This is from the 33 side. As you can see, 33 on the bottom there. These were about a month or so ago as it's nearing completion. And these are from the Basel Western side. So that road on the bottom there will be expanded to include a center turn lane. As I mentioned, the Roadling development site, that is the site that's on the north side of Basel Western. That will be 3 separate speculative warehouse buildings of approximately 553,000 square feet, with about a $30 to $35 million investment on that project. We don't have final numbers yet, but they will be contributing over $1 million to road improvements as well. They'll follow the same structure as the DHL deal. All the deals along that corridor will have the same financing structure. Just their latest sketch of what the proposed site will look like. It will be a 2-phase project with the 2 smaller buildings up top being developed first, and then the approximately 225,000 square foot building in the bottom right corner being developed second. It is developed this way because there's a gas line that runs right through the center of that property. So the 2 little dash lines, that's the gas line right there. So they had to work around that, but this is the plan for that site. Next slide. And then a few other projects, as I mentioned, the Lafayette site, which is right across the street from the Hammer site that we just discussed. That's a potential 210,000 square foot warehouse building, between 10 to 20 million investment. They will be contributing to the road improvements as well. And then MedVet, if you've driven down all of the western, you can see they have expanded. So they have built a new 11,000 square foot facility there. They'll be knocking down their old facility, turning that into the parking lot. So there's just a lot of development along that corridor, spurred by the DHL development. So we see that as one of our major projects here over the next few years. And lastly, for me, one of the things we are also working on is site preparedness. So we have been working closely with our utilities department to determine future sites for development all around the county in the future. Kind of pick out some sites that we think make sense, along 33 corridor, Coon Path Road area, Greenfield Township. So we've been working with our utility providers to gather information, see if those sites are developable, if we can have the capacities of electricity, gas, fiber, water, wastewater. If it makes sense to move forward with those sites and trying to get those shovel ready so we can market those for development in the future. So that's ongoing, and that is an ongoing process. And we hope to have a number of sites here in the next few months that we are ready to start marketing for development. So that is my section here, and I will pass this on to Vince. He will talk about the Port Authority and a few of the things they do.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Could you refresh us regarding the projected employment numbers at DHL, and then if you have a number for the Fuller development?
Yes, so the DHL projected employment is minimum 200 employees. That's minimum. We expected more than 200, but that is the minimum. And for the Hammer development is a minimum of 100 employees in those 3 buildings.
A lot of that just depends on type of products they're moving out of there. So it's a lot of smaller products and more of a van delivery type stuff. You're gonna have a lot more employees. If it's large car auto parts, when somebody's coming a few times a day to pick up. And if they already know what's going in. We don't know what's going in yet, but minimum.
And I ask that just so that I guess folks can know that that's where I'm coming from. I mean, it's not development for the sake of development. It's a few thousand people who leave our county every day to go work in logistics in some other county. And this gives them a shot at a better opportunity. So I appreciate your work.
Yeah, thank you.
Just one other thing, if I might. So you referenced the site work that you're doing, right, in identifying utilities. And I think it's important to note that when we were going about the work of, identifying where it makes sense to market properties, that we got a great deal of input from developers who are in that line of work. So it's not you and me and Rick sitting around, kind of throwing darts at the board. It's very informed work that we're doing. So, I appreciate all your effort.
Yeah, we got a lot of input from townships as well, where they see development happening. developers. So yeah, we're not just going out sort of in the middle of nowhere and saying, hey, this makes sense.
Thanks, Anthony.
Thank you. Hello, good morning, everybody. So as Anthony was talking about building out Boston Western and future development sites, there's a lot of tools in our toolbox that we can utilize. So one of them is the Port Authority. So the County Port Authority has been active over the last few years, and the benefit of using the Port Authority for some of these deals is when Port owns the project and leases it to the developer, there can be some sales tax realization. So that 6.75% of the construction costs, not of labor or land, the construction cost, that can be realized and split between the developer and the port. So the developer does not receive all of that tax benefit. That money comes back to the port in a negotiated amount, and then what the port can do is reinvest those dollars back into the ground for the road improvement, for the utilities. So that's what we've been working on Boston Western. We had our first deal with Tendy in now in 2022. DHL was last year. And then most recently last week, we signed documents with Ortho One, which will be a medical facility in Pickerington near their Ohio Health Campus on Refugee Road. So, and to my point of putting money back into the ground, we asked that the developer set aside dollars for a future road. So we wanted to take care of Pickerington and said, okay, you're going to need a future road on this site. They earmarked dollars from their sales savings to build out that future road. So it's not going to be the burden of the community. So the
Can I ask a question, Mr. President? Vince, on the sales tax exemption, is that just for the construction? Is that a one-time thing, or is there a multi-year sales tax exemption that would apply to other forms of sales?
That is perfect. That's one time for the construction of the.
And just the mindset of that is, you're reinvesting that into the developments for more development. That's why the state of Ohio allows that. We're careful to use that when it makes the most sense. Most of the materials and things are purchased from out of the county anyway, so we're not really losing much sales tax, and we're gaining plenty.
Yeah, no, I think I see the long horizon on it. I just wanted to make sure I understood the exemption duration.
Next slide. I wanted to mention the 33 Development Alliance. So that's our public and private partnership. It's a group of developers, or not developers, group of economic development folks, private entities. We just get together and share information, talk about what projects are coming up, making sure that we're all kind of working from the same playbook. And really, it's a way to market the area, market our 33 corridor. So we'll run ads. This is an ad that will appear in Columbus CEO magazine. So their year-end edition. We wanted to focus on healthcare and workforce in this particular ad space. So on the left, you see the investment that Pickerington, Canal, Winchester, Lancaster is making in healthcare. I heard someone say in a meeting once that, hospitals follow households. I thought that's kind of, that stuck with me. So, that's showing the investment that those communities are making. People want local care. And of course, on the right, the investment we're making with workforce. So don't need to remind you of the investment we're making with workforce. So just wanted to throw that in there as kind of our marketing, of that 33 corridor. So we get together quarterly, and we also host an economic update at the end of the year. So that'll be in December. So keep an eye out for that. That's been an event that really has gotten bigger and better throughout the years. Get a lot of people come together to just get an update on what's going on.
We have a date set for that yet?
We have a tentative date. Let me get that to you.
Good. So the Fairfield County Revolving Loan Fund is another tool that we have. It's been a little quiet lately. We've done one deal this year. We did two last year. And of course, before that, during the pandemic, it was really kind of all hands on deck. We received
$913,000, and we're tasked with getting that back out into the community to help businesses during the pandemic, help them keep their lights on, keep their doors open. Sometimes it's tied to job growth. During the pandemic, of course, we were just trying to help Main Street America, and those loans ranged from $6,500 up to 175,000 was our largest. So that was for a manufacturer that was adding equipment, adding jobs, adding a product line. But really, we look at deals on a case by case basis, and factor in the job creation. Right now, and the nice thing about the revolving loan fund is, as those funds, that's a loan, that's not forgivable. It's not a grant. Those dollars come back into the fund. Then we lend that back out to the next business that might need help getting a deal done. Maybe they're working with their community bank and a commercial lender, and just need that extra push to get over the hump. So I would say our sweet spot is maybe that 50 to 100,000 for a deal. We can go smaller, we can go larger, but that seems to be kind of where a lot of them land. Yeah, 28 loans on the books. And it's worth mentioning that EDA has defederalized a portion of that. So like a lot of you have to send in some reports and see, are you lending money out? Are they paying you back on time? What's your delinquency? Those have historically been really good reports. And so our track record said, you guys can handle this. You don't need the EDA oversight. So they have defederalized some of those dollars. They said you can use that for any economic development project you see fit. Our committee has determined that we want to continue to use that as a loan fund. So, great opportunities. So wanted to mention our work with the Hicks Partners. That has been going pretty well since that relationship in 2022. County villages, townships, county agencies have received $2.5 million in grants. He told me that there is over 300 people on their listserv that receive those grant alerts. So when they send out a grant alert, here's a new opportunity from this organization, and their phone rings. So they are staying busy with a lot of inquiries from villages, county agencies, townships. Just last week, Madison Township was awarded a $10,000 grant from the Ohio Department of Transportation to help with signage, safety signs, reflective signs. So it's a small victory, but $10,000 to keep our county roads safe. I think that's a good thing.
So I can tell you, having driven the roads in Madison Township, $10,000 win for them is a really big deal in Madison Township, and their signs desperately needed to be updated. So it doesn't seem like a lot, but for Madison Township, that's a big, big deal.
Several still pending. So a couple of the other big ones, Regional Food System Partnership. We worked with 10 other surrounding counties. So that's, as we talk about hunger awareness at the month of September, we talk about local farmers, food producers, farmers markets. How can we partner together to get more access to food? So that's pending. Domestic Relations Court, I believe that's for a visitation. That's a $600,000 grant that's pending. And then workforce mobility. So that was recently submitted. How are we getting people to work, right? So we've talked a lot about that. So workforce mobility. Then Dan's not here, but I believe City of Lancaster and the county IT recently submitted or will be submitting for cybersecurity. So that's all the rest. Yeah, thank you. Time.
Thank you, the commissioners, for this grant support with Hicks. It has been a really good way for us to connect with the villages and the townships as we try to, work more closely with them. That's something that we can give them. Just a couple of updates, and Mayor McDaniel and Stephanie Bosco, Economic Development, City of Lancaster are here. I have to say, we work so well with City of Lancaster Economic Development, better than we ever have. Very collaborative. We're bringing each other to meetings that are being very impactful. Service Solutions, which has $200+ million expansion. They're going to bring, what's the total number of jobs now?
So they just came to they easily get about 25
And so they're formerly Retrieve Technologies. They are battery recyclers, and they're shifting to EV batteries. They got an $80 million grant from the Department of Energy. So this will be one of the coolest buildings in Fairfield County once it's complete. But we are working very closely with them on the workforce side of things. Next. And then the Gateway Project. So Stephanie and I are working with Fairfield Homes and with the Montrose Group to look at how we can make this happen. So this is the old Lancaster glass site, right as you come on Memorial and Main, across the street from JFS. And they're looking at a combination hotel and apartments, probably about 70-some apartments and close to 100 hotel rooms. But they need a parking garage in order to make that happen. We did receive $2 million from the state operating budget, or the community, one-time community fund for this project. And we're working to try to figure out what's the real cost going to be. And then we're working with Montrose and Stephanie and I on tax overlays to be able to make sure the people that are using the developers, the people that are staying there, those would be the ones paying for it. So we are working hard on that, but this is going to be a $40 to $60 million project in downtown Lancaster. By far the biggest project in downtown Lancaster, probably after the jail. So
It's bigger than the jail, thank you. But a question on that. Some of us have been around long enough to have heard this about that site and then heard this about that site. And it's been a little bit of a parade of ideas, but to no result. And I wondered if you might give us your expertise and prediction. Is this thing really happening, or is this going to be another one of those? Well, yeah, I remember when we talked about that.
we had $2 million from the state, so we are doing everything we can to make it happen. Part of the problem is right now, cost of capital. So for any developer, it's really expensive. So, but we are working closely with them. I'm going to go 70% chance of it happening. Okay.
Just one other point, if I might, Mr. President. Back when we were constructing the jail, one of the arguments that the WAC jobs made was that we would kill downtown by building the jail. Thank you.
So, all right, that's our story. Any questions? Anything for us?
So I would like to ask Mayor McDaniel, thanks for being here today, and Stephanie, Esco, if you'd like anything else to add. Again, the cooperation of the city of Lancaster and the county is great. And, and that's really the combination that makes everything work well. So we appreciate all the cooperative efforts that you folks have provided.
It's great to be here, and I think Rick summed up the cooperation we have. I would think better than ever. These projects can't happen in a vacuum. And we've had so much support, and yeah, I might go 75%.
All right.
That's my guy. Do I hear 80?
Thank you for everything. Really appreciate the support.
We had a meeting with an employer on Friday with Jobs Ohio, and one Columbus, me and Stephanie, and I talked to Audie afterward, and I'm like, what? 3 or 4 years ago, I wouldn't even known about this meeting. And now we're there and coming up with ideas and brainstorming, and that shows a lot to these employers that there's that collaboration. So,
I'll just add, if I might, Anthony mentioned at the beginning of his presentation that we're working with Greenfield Township and the city of Lancaster on cooperative economic development agreement and new community authority. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that never would have happened. And Mayor McDaniel has been really patient and gracious. Anytime you get a township and a city in the same room, it's usually very contentious, and it has been at times. But the mayor and Stephanie have been just really professional in the approach, and as a result of that, we're going to make something happen that's going to be, I think, to some degree, a game changer. I know it will be for Greenfield Township. And it'll be a game changer in the way that we can approach development around the city of Lancaster. It won't be pitting Lancaster against whatever township, because Hocking Township's going to follow. Pleasant Township's already asked to get in line. So the fact that we're creating these cooperative agreements between the city of Lancaster and the townships around it is really a big deal. And credit goes to the mayor and Stephanie for their work on it.
If I may, the editor of Business First came down and meet with me yesterday because he's been hearing about a lot of good things happening in Fairfield County. And we spent about an hour and a half at the Workforce Center talking about all this stuff. Really, if you think about the state of the county, the three pillars that you guys talked about, and he was just like, hey, you don't see this happening anywhere. And I said, no, you don't. So I have to throw that back to you guys. So thank you for your leadership and investment in allowing us to do this.
Any other questions, commissioners, before we go?
We do it all the time, but tremendous appreciation, Rick, for your leadership, your team. You've developed a great team and you're doing just a phenomenal job. It's much appreciated.
Thank you. I've just been going to Fairfield Career Center where they're having a groundbreaking ceremony for their new building they're going to close there.
So I text back and forth with the lieutenant governor this morning. I said, sorry, I can't be here. I'm in a meeting. And he said, I wish you well.
I will. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you guys very much. You guys did a nice job.
So we've reached the point of which we allow public comment. If you wish to do so, please approach the podium and give your name and address, and you are limited to 3 moments.
My name is Ray Stemen. I live at Primrose on 188. But my experience goes back a few years. And I remember when many of the school districts around did have what we call grants. Those grants would last about 3 years. And then the local taxpayers would have to pick up, complete the thing and keep it in the school. There's a lot of things that have changed in this life of mine. And I'm not sure all of them are good, but there are a lot of good things happening. But I always felt kind of questioning how government can create jobs. And that always bothers me a little bit, maybe a lot sometimes. Right now, though, I want to turn to the Lord to direct us. Lord, right now, yes, growth is necessary at times, and if used properly, it doesn't leave the little guy without a pot to use. And so, Lord, help us to make decisions that will help the people in this community, not only those that are financially well off, but improve the entire county. And we do need food in the end to support our people. The farmers are still the groundwork of everything that happens in this world. Without food, it doesn't work. And Lord, help us to maintain this and help us to keep in mind that you are in charge, and help us to remember that we must take care of the poor and those that are widows and singles. And we praise you and thank you for what you've given us. Help us to use it properly. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
I'd like to be next, please. Thank you all for coming. Anything on Liggins? Honey.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. We did receive from the Board of Elections, they completed their proofing process for the November 5th general election ballot. As required, the ballot was placed on the front counter there at the Board of Elections for their required 24-hour viewing period. An electronic copy of that proof ballot is in your review packet today. Also, OSU Extension Educator Cost Share. This was an item that came up from CCAO. They recently met with the interim director there of OSU Extension, provide an overview of the university's state and county funding budget. The university is proposing a $10,000 increase to the county cost share for extension educators over the next 2 fiscal years. Currently, counties pay $32,750 for the first OSU educator and $42,750 for any additional educators within the county. The proposal would have counties paying an additional $5,000 in calendar year 25 and 26, with the intention of having the same cost share amount for all educators. Currently, the average salary, including benefits for an educator, is $85,000, which means counties are paying about 44.7% of an educator's salary on average. And this proposal would increase that average to 45.1% for 2026 and beyond. So I'm sure that we will be hearing about this in the budget meeting for OSU Extension. Bart, have you received anything additional from Shannon on this yet?
No.
All right. Engineer's office viewing. As you recall, the engineer's office did add a culvert in their list of culverts and bridges for viewings and hearings. That 13th culvert was set for a viewing on 9/24 and hearing on 10/1. Unfortunately, the incorrect location was provided for that culvert, and now that viewing is having to be rescheduled. The viewing will now take place on November 12th with a hearing on November 19th. And as a reminder, you do have a number of viewings this afternoon, as well as 2 on the 24th now. The review packet does contain a list of administrative approvals, and there are 23 resolutions on the agenda for the regular voting meeting. A couple resolutions of note. There is one on there for the proposed cooperation of the Board of Commissioners and the State of Ohio Director of Transportation regarding the Allen Road vacation that is connected to the Pickerington Road interchange. Also have a resolution to approve an authorized use of ARP fiscal recovery funding and appropriate from unappropriated for that particular fiscal recovery fund. Excuse me. 3 resolutions from the engineer's office, with 2 of them relating to the Salt Barn concrete pavement project, and a resolution approving a change order for Refugee Road intersection safety improvements. Jason, anything on that?
No, the salt barn is, so we awarded part of it for the structure. This part is for the concrete slabs inside the building.
All right, thank you. And then lastly, we do have a resolution to assess 2024 water and sewer delinquencies, and that's coming in at a total of $67,640 in delinquencies. Tony, anything else on that?
We're only customers. That's every year.
All right, thank you. No budget review today. Stacy, calendar review and invitations received, please.
Family and Children First Council meeting, September 19th at 8:30 a.m. at the Ag Center. Next is the Lancaster Fairfield Community Action Board of Directors meeting, September 19th at 11:30 a.m. at the Recycling Center. Next is the Springs at Wyandotte Trail ribbon cutting, September 19th at 4 p.m., 1495 Granville Pike. Next is the Carnation Solar Public House Open House, September 25th at 5 p.m. at Amanda High School. Pickerington Kroger Grand Reopening, September 27th at 10 a.m. Next is the Habitat for Humanity of Southeast Ohio New Home Celebration, September 27th at 11 a.m., 127 Arnie Avenue in Lancaster. Last is a CEAO Winter Conference, December 4th through the 6th at Hilton Columbus downtown. Next is correspondence.
Thank you.
We have Lancaster Gazette, Jeff Barron, September 10th, 24th. County Commissioners are looking for help in naming the transit system. Next, we received a letter, Office of Lieutenant Governor, support for the waiver to exclude income of secondary students under age 21. We received a Fairfield County Municipal Court Criminal Traffic Division fees collected report for August 2024. We also received a memo from Dr. Carrie Brown, County Auditor, on September 12th, 24. Subjects are county appraised valuations over time in the Real Estate Assessment Summit, serving those who served, and internal controls. Next, we have the Fairfield County Auditor's Wins of the Week for September 12th. Next is a flyer. It's a photo opportunity for Fairfield County Veteran Services booth for the 2024 County Fair. There's a press release, Fairfield County Board of Elections, September 13th, announcing Director Brett Riffle and Deputy Director Jane Hanley of the Fairfield County Board of Elections have been designated as certified elections registration administrators, the highest professional achievement for election officials. Last is the Fairfield County Board of Elections, November 5th, 2024 general election ballot proofs.
Thank you, Stacy, and thank you, Stacy and John, for filling in today. Appreciate everyone's help while we have some absences here. That's all, Commissioner.
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody that tomorrow is Fed Day. We'll be keeping an eye on what the Fed's up to in terms of interest rates. We have discussions that are ongoing right now with regard to both revenue and debt, and the Fed's decision tomorrow, and perhaps more importantly, Chairman Powell's comments after the decision will shed a lot of light on what we can and can't do as far as debt and income are concerned as it relates to interest rates. So it's tomorrow, probably around 2:00.
So since we rated the possibility of this complex going forward, what should percentage bet on 25 or 50?
Asking me?
Yes.
Oh, it's 25. Wish it was 50, but
Yeah, we should.
I think 50 scares people too much. I think they'll go 25.
I think it should be 50, but I think they're going to 25 just because it scares you. I think you're right. And
That's what I think, but we'll wait and see tomorrow. I mean, I think if it does go 50, you guys may have noticed the last few days that 2s and 10s are no longer inverted, so that's a good sign.
It's always good when the 2s and 10s are not inverted anymore. Last week I had a chance to meet with Jason Booth from the CEO of the YMCA, and just came away impressed by him and the work that they're doing there, and the ambition that he has to expand the depth and breadth of the services that YMCA can provide to Fairfield County. So just throwing that out there. Seemed like it's got a bright future there.
I had an opportunity to chat with Jason yesterday at Rotary, and he said that he had met with you. We have him scheduled for an update to the full commission on October the 8th at 9 a.m.
Great. Commissioner Fix, how we do business.
Yeah, so Ani and I are knee deep in planning a CCAO Central Region Housing Symposium on October 18th. So far, we've lined up the Lieutenant Governor to come in and make some opening remarks. We've got Kenny McDonald coming in to talk about, growth is coming. Middle Ohio Regional Planning Commission will have somebody there. The Building Industry Association, Jamie Green from Planning Next, hopefully some developers, basically going through the same kind of format that we took the local townships and villages through a couple of years ago. What we're finding, what the CCAO is finding, is that county commissioners, particularly around Central Ohio, are trying to figure out what to do, and we've referenced this before, looking at the Fairfield model for how we're moving forward, working with our townships and villages and the land use plan and zoning. So we're going to share that story with them, and hopefully they'll all be able to take advantage of that. Also involved in planning the CCAO Winter Conference coming up in December. And we've got some other meetings coming up later this week as well. One of those is a meeting between Ray Ward with our Education Service Center and our state rep, Jeff LeRae, working on a couple projects that might come to fruition. And finally, this Friday, we're continuing our meetings with townships and villages. We've got Lancaster and Greenfield, Walnut and Thurston, and Walnut and Motorsport. So always a lot going on here.
Good work on that, Jeff.
Thanks.
Mr. Davis, any, new business?
Yeah, Ani and I had an opportunity to meet yesterday with Commander Lowe with the Major Crimes Unit. As folks may know or may not, but he submitted his intent to retire or resign. He's got another opportunity with the state. So we're looking at a number of issues associated with the Major Crimes Unit, which is not necessarily the responsibility of this body, but you are represented on the governing board for the Major Crimes Unit. It's a two-board system. Tomorrow morning, the operating board is scheduled to meet in light of the circumstances. I've been invited to just go to the operating board meeting, even though I'm not on that board, I'm on the governing board. But I think there's an opportunity here to kind of recalibrate what we're doing in that regard. But I don't want to get out in front of my skis on what that looks like, because I think the governing board needs to meet, have that conversation. But we're working on it. There are lots of complications, lots of issues to consider. But I felt like it was a real solid meeting with Commander Lowe yesterday, and we'll stay on it. As with everything to do with anything government, I have reason to believe this process will take longer than I want it to.
You have anything to report on the treasurer's office?
I, as Commissioner Davis, anticipating what happens tomorrow with the Fed. Many I've talked to believe that the potential, that there will be a rate reduction tomorrow, but as to what the amount is, but many believe that the decrease is already in the market, it's baked in the market already. So be curious to have an eye on investments as far as the change from today to Thursday as to what happens to rates.
But Mr. President, when Treasurer Bonson says baked in the market, just to illustrate that, the Fed funds rate right now is a range between, I think, 5 and 5 1/4. And the twos were somewhere around 3.5 when I looked at them this morning. The 10s were around 3.6. So you see that huge drop off between what the Fed fund rate is and what the market's doing, which illustrates Jim's point that the market is baked in a series of cuts.
So, Jason,
Just an update on Basel Western Road. We did receive phase 2 plans, so those are on Mitch's desk. He's reviewing those now. And we're also working with work acquisition services on the right of way to that project. Just piggybacking on what Anthony and those guys are working on. That's where we're at. Plans for Basel Western Road through that section of development. And so phase 3 would be the final set of plans. Hoping to have those by spring of next year, so we can start on that. Start acquisition, looking at acquisition right away.
spend a lot of time with you, Seth.
Yep, get a chance to see plenty of Fairfield County again.
Yeah, we're gonna see a lot of Fairfield County.
Yep, we are. Hi, buddy.
Dr. Brad.
We've been having a lot of conversations about the importance of stakeholder theory and how stakeholder theory requires us to think about how each of our actions affect others. And that's exactly how things like economic development combine the public and private sector. And that's how government is able to help create jobs, how government is able to impact development. It's when you have common goals and you come together and open your eyes to each other. So I commend you for that. Very specifically, I want to talk about some of the things that stakeholder theory has impacted in our services. We have been attending a lot more events, in particular with our separate political subdivisions. I want to commend the Soil and Water Conservation District. They had a tremendous annual meeting. Rachel Elsey attended that one and said she came away with a lot of good knowledge about the Hunters Run Conservancy District. I think about also the County Park District. They had harvest days this past weekend, and Stacy Knight in our map room She prepared specific maps for them for their educational purposes and learned a lot herself in doing that. Then Weights and Measures have been attending a lot of different agricultural businesses, but also have spent a lot of time at the Kroger in Pickerington in order to make sure they're ready for their opening that is this week. Really good report about the financial audit for 12/31/2023. We have no findings. A couple things to work on. You always learn lessons from these types of audits. We have learned lessons and we're going to continue to work on those, particularly with the federal schedule of reports, as well as other procedures to increase internal control. You recall that Athens County was here last week. We went over a case study with them. You'll hear and have some more information about segregation of duties. Again, learning as we are helpful to others so that we can provide that information and highlight it for our own departments too. Received lots of notes of appreciation this week. I shared a few in the Wins of the Week. We'll share some next week as well. But overall, we're in a state of change. And that's a state of change relating to modernization. That modernization, you'll hear a lot more about Doc Link. That's involving 60 different political subdivisions. We're very appreciative of that. And as you think about a state of a change, some school districts are very sophisticated and are quite ready for it. And some other political subdivisions might have a little bit of fear of this type of change. So we're taking our time with that. We'll roll that out in January of 25. Can't thank Bev Hoskinson enough for her vision in terms of how this will roll out. I'm very appreciative of it. And also with enterprise assessment and tax, we're having a lot of other changes there. The stakeholder group is smaller, but it is something that is of the same modernization. I'm now leading and chairing the communications committee for County Auditors Association of Ohio. We are going to update the videos that we have here in Fairfield County and perhaps try to make something that works on a statewide basis. It's a little bit hard to do as you think about the different dates that each county has their assessments, their triennial, their sexennials, and working on that to see if we can do something on a statewide basis as opposed to each county. Very proud of the staff. We worked on a couple of different United Way and Hunger Coalition donations this past week. I brought in lunch twice and said, just donate what you can. We did a pretty good show for that. And very excited about that. And today, I believe, is National Voter Registration Day. Just like to highlight that.
So, one of the things we mentioned was delinquencies. Obviously when you have sewer only, you can't shut your sewer off, right? But that is added to the tax people about.
It's how you collect a lot of this private domain. Sure, why they don't. So I forgot to mention tonight we're going to Bern Township. They reached out and asked for some help with their land use plan and zoning. And so Tony and Polly, Maddie, and I, and Anthony's going to go as well. So this is the second of the townships that have called asking for help. So it's working. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Anthony, for coming out tonight.
Tomorrow, the job fairs at Post, two of them from 7 to 9 a.m. and 4 to 6 p.m. Cover all shifts. So, folks out.
So how does that work? You're going to have people on the side of the course?
Yes, we'll have our staff on site, and then all of the employers will be set up.
So how many employers will you have there?
Roughly 40.
That's good.
Yeah, so it's, I spoke last week on some twice. Some of them are going to both job fairs.
They're not 60.
So it's not, it's still a lot.
Then it's still a good number. Right?
Really appreciate your team's efforts on that. It's a big deal. So you and Rick, just thank you. Big deal with it.
Very nice. So please rise if you're able and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Stacy, any announcements?
I have none.
Approval of minutes for September 10th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Seeing none, roll call please.
Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
First item is resolution number 2024-09.17.a. A resolution approving the proposed cooperation of the Fairfield County Board of Commissioners with the State of Ohio Director of Transportation.
The Commissioners, I move items A, B, C, and D.
Second.
Discussion.
Yep, so this first one, we are working with the Department of Transportation on the Pickerington Road interchange, and as a part of that, we're in negotiations on some land that the county owns and the financial impact that interchange is going to have on the value of that county property, and how we're trying to make sure that we're not negatively impacted. So ODOT's been pushing, we've been pushing, and we're going to have a meeting later this week with them about this. But at the end of the day, we have to make sure that we're protecting our taxpayers and the value of our land. And so this resolution basically just says we want to cooperate with them, and we do. We want that interchange done, but we're not going to let them run over us in the process.
Additional discussion. Roll call please.
Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Next resolution is from the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities, number 2024-09.17.e. A resolution to approve a memo receipt for the cost of transportation for individuals paid to Lancaster Fairfield Public Transit as a memo expenditure for fund number 2060.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Seeing none, roll call please.
Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Next resolution is from Fairfield County Emergency Management Agency, number 2024-09.17.f. A resolution to approve a memo expenditure from EMA and Local Emergency Planning Committee, Fund number 2091 to EMA Fund number 2090 for agreed service.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Seeing none, roll call please.
Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Next resolution is from Fairfield County Engineer, number 2024-09.17.g. A resolution to approve the contract with Jagger Construction LLC for the Salt Barn Concrete Pavement Project.
Fairfield County Engineer, move items G, H, and I.
Second.
Discussion. Seeing none, roll call please.
Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Next resolution is from Fairfield County Job and Family Services, number 2024-09.17.j. A resolution to approve a memo receipt for the cost of birth certificates paid to Fairfield County Health Departments as a memo expenditure for fund number 2072 Public Children's Services.
Fairfield County Job and Family Services, I move items J, K, L, and M.
Second.
Discussion. Seeing none, roll call please.
Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Next resolution is from Fairfield County Regional Planning Commission, number 2024-09.17.n. A resolution to approve a change order number 1 for the CDBG fiscal year 2022 Village of Pleasantville, East Columbus Street, and Pearl Street storm sewer improvements.
The Regional Planning Commission, move items N and
Second.
Discussion.
Josh, anything?
First resolution is just to accommodate for some utilities that at the time. And then the second is to extend the contract time by a few weeks to install a gate to meet the gate's requirements.
Thank you.
Additional discussion. Roll call please.
Commissioner Fix?
yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Next resolution is from the Fairfield County Sheriff, number 2024-09.17.p. A resolution authorizing the approval of an agreement between MAO Pharmacy Incorporated, DBA Westwood Pharmacy, and the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office.
Fairfield County Sheriff moves items P, Q, and R.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yeah.
Bless you.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Next resolution is from South Central Major Crimes Unit, number 2024-09.17.S. A resolution authorizing an account-to-account transfer for MCU Fund number 7830, Subfund 8312, Drug Law Enforcement Fiscal Year 22 Grant.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Next resolution is from the Fairfield County Treasurer, number 2024-09.17.T. A resolution to appropriate from unappropriated in a major expenditure object category Treasurer's Office Fund number 2804, DTAC.
Fairfield County Treasurer move items T and U.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Next resolution is from the Fairfield County Utilities Department, number 2024-09.17.B. A resolution to assess 2024 water and sewer delinquencies.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Next is for the payment of bills, number 2024-09.17.W. A resolution authorizing the approval of payment of invoices for departments that require Board of Commissioners approval.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
The next regular meeting is scheduled for September 24th, 2024 at 9 a.m. Commissioners have viewings this afternoon, starting at 12:30 p.m.
Any additional items that come before the Board of Commissioners need to be adjourned? Normally, we don't allow, but we're going to make an exception since you didn't talk this morning.
Yeah, when you guys were talking about the development and growth and all that, and I know you've been having a lot of meetings and a lot of work on that, bringing the townships around. In case you don't know, which you probably do, but in case you don't know, that in the application, Cottontail, they project that there's going to be a loss of population in several of the towns and townships. And I don't know how that can possibly happen with all of the development and everything going on. So the next time you meet, you might want to bring that up. If you, but I think that's accurate.
Thank you. Any additional items to come before the Board of Commissioners before we adjourn? Okay.
I would just like, I didn't say during my presentation, but I would like to thank the department. And a lot of this development can't happen without us all working.
So, that's really it. Cooperation really gets the job done. Okay, looking for a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Yeah.
I saw you having to say that.
Taking a bio break. Gotta, like, wait for him. Yeah, yeah.